Imagine waking up to the gentle lapping of water right outside your window, a panoramic ocean view stretching to the horizon, and the untethered freedom of life at sea. This is the dream of owning a floating villa. It's a life of serene sunrises, waterfront cocktails, and an address that literally rises and falls with the tide. It's the seductive image you see splashed across Instagram feeds and in glossy travel magazines. But while you're picturing that, let's look at the reality. It's a spreadsheet bleeding red ink, a stack of invoices for things you've never even heard of. It's a tidal wave of hidden costs that can turn that beautiful dream into a financial nightmare before you ever cast off the lines. That price you see in the online listing, think of that as just the cover charge. The real price of admission is a relentless, lifelong financial commitment that most people never see coming. So, let's start with that initial number, the one that either makes you gasp or gets you daydreaming. What does it actually cost to buy a floating home? Well, the price spectrum is enormous. On the lowest end, you might hear whispers of fixer-upper houseboats for as little as $30,000 to $50,000. But let's be realistic. In today's popular markets, finding something livable at that price is practically a myth. A more realistic entry point, even for a small or older home in a major North American city, is well into the hundreds of thousands. When you get into the mainstream market, especially in established communities like Seattle or Portland, you'll find most family-size floating homes are well over $1 million, while listings can range from around $400,000 to over $2 million. The median price often sits in the $800,000 to $1.4 million range, making those sub-$200,000 deals for family homes incredibly rare. And then there's the luxury market. This is where the numbers get truly stratospheric. In places like Dubai, projects like the floating seahorse villas advertise homes with underwater bedrooms and private coral reef views. While the most talked about villas start around 22 million dirhams, that's roughly $6 million US, there are different versions. Some signature edition villas have been marketed with starting prices closer to 12 million dirhams, showing that even in the ultra-luxury space, there's a range. It's easy to get mesmerized by the price tag, but like we said, this is just the beginning. The purchase price is the anchor, but it's the long, heavy chain of ongoing costs that will determine if your investment actually floats or sinks. Now for the big one, the cost that never, ever goes away. Mooring fees. You bought the house, but you didn't buy the water it floats on. That patch of H2O belongs to someone, usually a marina or a government entity, and they charge rent. Think of it as a combination of an HOA fee and a land lease. So, how much are we talking? While you might find a basic slip in a less desirable area for around $300, it's not the norm. In most popular marinas in places like Seattle, monthly HOA or moorage fees typically run from $550 to over $2,000 and can climb past $2,000 for larger houseboats or premium locations. In a high-demand spot like Sausalito, California, residents have reported paying around $1,300 a month just for their slip. These fees often cover essentials like water, sewage, and trash, but not always. This single monthly bill is the biggest financial drag on a floating homeowner. Unlike a mortgage, where you eventually pay it off, mooring fees are forever. They go up with inflation, and they're subject to the whims of the marina owner. If the marina gets sold or redeveloped, you could be facing a massive rent hike or, worst-case scenario, an eviction notice with nowhere to park your house. Some floating homes are sold with the water slip included, which is known as owning the moorage. This is the gold standard, as it eliminates that monthly rent. But these properties are rare and command a major price premium. For most people, the financial reality is the relentless, unavoidable, and ever-increasing cost of just keeping your house tied to the dock. If you've ever owned a boat, you know the old saying, the two happiest days in a boat owner's life are the day they buy it and the day they sell it. A floating home takes that sentiment and puts it on a 30-year mortgage. The marine environment is relentlessly harsh. Salt water corrodes everything, constant moisture breeds mold, and marine life decides your house is a great place to call home. There's a rule of thumb for yacht maintenance, suggesting you budget 10% of the vessel's value per year. Floating homes are a bit more robust, but they aren't immune. A more conservative planning guideline for floating homes is to set aside 3 to 5% of the home's value annually for upkeep. So, for a $500,000 home, you should be putting away $15,000 to $25,000 every single year. Many owners might only budget $1,200 to $6,000 a year, but that usually just covers the absolute basics. What does all that money cover? Everything. Dock repairs, repainting the exterior, servicing pumps, and fighting an endless battle with rust. But the real financial terror lies just beneath the surface. Your home rests on a float, often concrete, steel, or foam, and that foundation needs regular inspections by professional divers, which can cost several $100s each time. And what if that diver finds a problem? You could be looking at a catastrophic expense. Major float repairs can cost anywhere from $5,000 to over $20,000 and are often needed every 10 to 20 years, though the timing varies wildly depending on the float's age and construction. This isn't an optional remodel. If your foundation fails, your entire investment goes down. It's a massive financial risk that most people don't truly factor in. If you're finding this breakdown of the real costs useful and maybe just a little terrifying, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're always digging into the economics of the things we dream about to make sure you go in with your eyes wide open. On top of everything else, there are two more big financial hurdles: insurance and financing. You can't just call your regular agent for a standard homeowner's policy. Floating homes need specialized marine insurance that covers unique risks like storm damage, float failure, or liability on the docks. Because it's a niche product, it's more expensive. Annual insurance premiums for a floating home can often run between $1,500 and $4,000, sometimes even more depending on the value and location. That's significantly more than many land-based homeowners pay. Then there's the challenge of getting a loan. Most traditional banks don't want to touch floating homes. They're not standard real estate. Legally, they're often classified as personal property, like an RV or yacht. This means you'll need to find a specialty lender who deals in marine or chattel loans. Because the collateral can, in theory, float away, these loans are seen as higher risk. As a result, you can expect stricter requirements. Lenders often demand a down payment of 20 to 30% and charge higher interest rates with shorter loan terms. While it's true that some co-op or condo-style marinas might offer access to more conventional loans, the vast majority of buyers face these tougher conditions. This smaller pool of qualified buyers can also make it harder to sell when the time comes. Right about now, you might be thinking, okay, the costs are high, but what if I rent it out on Airbnb? A luxury floating villa has to be a cash cow. This is the siren song that has lured many investors onto the rocks. Developers of high-end projects love to market incredible rental returns. And it's true, a unique property in a prime location can command very high nightly rates. Some projections suggest an ROI between 7 and 12% is possible. But it's crucial to remember that these impressive ROI figures are usually based on best-case scenario projections from developers, not guaranteed real-world averages. They depend heavily on high occupancy rates. A financial forecast might look amazing at 80% occupancy, but what happens in the off-season, or if local short-term rental laws change? One case study showed that even to hit revenue targets, it assumed the property would be empty about half the time. And remember all those costs we just covered? They don't go on vacation when you have a renter. Your gross rental income gets relentlessly chipped away by mortgage fees, maintenance, cleaning, management fees, higher commercial insurance rates, and utilities. After all is said and done, the net profit is often far lower than the brochures suggest. A floating villa can be a profitable rental, but it's not passive income. It's a hands-on business that requires constant management and deep cash reserves. So, after breaking down the million-dollar price tags, the relentless monthly fees, the surprise maintenance bombs, and the tough realities of financing and rentals, is owning a floating villa worth it? Here's the bottom line. A floating villa is a spectacular lifestyle purchase, but it is a challenging and often unforgiving financial investment. The economics really only work if you check very specific boxes. The property is in a strong, desirable market, the mooring situation is secure, and most importantly, the owner is a lifestyle buyer first and an investor second. This is a purchase for someone who has already achieved financial freedom and now is buying the dream with a full understanding of the high carrying costs. For the average person hoping to find an affordable backdoor into waterfront living, the reality is a constant battle against expenses that can easily swamp the initial investment. It's a high-cost asset that demands deep pockets and a genuine passion for the lifestyle to make the numbers make sense. So, after hearing the true cost, we have to ask, would you still want one? Is the dream of living on the water worth that staggering price of admission? Let us know what you think in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you want more deep dives into the economics of luxury living, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.